Evening, boys. Daddy's just got himself changed, ready for rugby training. Second week of rugby training. I'm not looking forward to it. I'm going to hurt tomorrow. You guys all washed? Got your pyjamas on? You in bed? Toby, head down. Ted, stop picking your nose. Right, are you ready? Chapter 17. We're getting through it, aren't we? Right, where are we? Let's see. Finn's father squinted into the lens and then beckoned Finn over so that he could peer in. Deep within the edge of the crystal, Finn could see strands of a pure white light dashing gracefully across the lens. It was quite beautiful. I don't know for sure what it is, but it's new to Darkmouth, said Mr. Ladd. New, said Hugo, as if the word tasted bad. When it comes to legend, new is never good. Never most of the time, said Mr. Ladd. Finn looked down at his feet, thinking about the first crystal he had found, the one that was currently tucked away in his underpant drawer. Is this the only one that's come through, Hugo? Mr. Ladd asked, as Finn's father took another look. Yes. Are you sure? Said Mr. Ladd. And he was looking for Finn, who felt a flush of guilt. Mr. Ladd's eyes were like a microscope on his conscience. Yes, Finn answered, trying not to let his voice squeak in betrayal. Well then, Mr. Ladd said, slowly breaking eye contact with Finn. I'll hold on to it if that's okay with you, Hugo, and run a few tests. Fine with me, Finn's dad answered, his fist pressed to his chin, as though he thought this unwelcome twist in what should have been a standard hunt. There was something else too. Another gateway. What do you mean? Asked Mr. Ladd. A second gateway while we were dealing with the Hodboon. It was just a small one, judging by the scanner, and wasn't open for more than a few seconds. No legend could have come through. Mr. Ladd rubbed the wisp of his beard with the back of his hand. They might have been trying to get in another way, but something went wrong. We haven't seen too much of that recently, but it isn't unheard of for more than one gateway to open at the same time. Remember that plague years ago that we had? Of course, I'm still getting the stains off my fighting suit, said Hugo. But it's been years since that kind of thing happened in Dartmouth. A hush fell over the room, broken only by the clang and swaying implements hanging in front of the shop. Oh, one other thing, Lad, said Finn's father, seeming to suddenly remember something of importance. There are a few bits and pieces I need to get from you for a project I've been meaning to talk to you about. Finn, you don't have a look around. I'll just be a minute. Finn wandered the room while his father and Mr. Ladd got on with their business. He pretended not to be interested in what they were talking about, but kept an ear on the conversation. Unfortunately, he could only hear snatches. Progress, he heard his father say. Energy source, he heard Mr. Ladd say. Close in permanently. Close it permanently. Highly dangerous. Donkey cabbages. Finn wondered if he might have misheard that last one. I think he must have done, mustn't he? Donkey cabbages. He continued to explore the room. In the corner were a couple of long pipes that he recognised from the more faded paintings in the long hall at home. At the foot of the wall, peeking out from behind the spikes, Finn noticed a framed wooden certificate on which he could only make out the words, "Of the Hidden Realm." Finn ran his hands over the long countertop that was busy with objects he didn't recognise. He picked up a green metallic one shaped like an egg and gave it a bit of a shake. Look but don't touch, said Mr. Ladd suddenly, appearing beside him and grabbing the object from Finn's hand. You don't want to leave here with fewer fingers than you arrived with, do you, Finn? This is called a fingerless grenade. Ugh. He gave it a squeeze, and rows of small jagged blades popped out on either end, one of them pushing a pin out of the top. It's called that because you're the one who ends up fingerless if you hold it wrong. Give that about 10 seconds and it will explode too. He pushed the pin in before it did. Maybe your parents will get you one for Christmas. Well, how is your mother, Finn, anyway? Asked Mr. Ladd. Clara's fine, thanks for asking, interrupted Finn's dad. We go way back too, young man, Mr. Ladd told Finn, and then winked. Further back than your father. Finn wanted to go home now. They left with Finn's father holding a couple of machine parts. He threw them in the back of the car alongside the desiccated Legend. Shouldn't we just ask the Hodboon what the diamond is for? Asked Finn. It's not a diamond, and he's not to be trusted. Finn felt jittery. The Hodboon's apparent recognition of him still nagged, but he also felt a growing sense of obligation to tell his father that there was another crystal, presumably with the same curious properties as the Hodboon's, currently sitting in his bedroom. What do you think of Mr. Ladd? His father asked him as they drove home. Finn grimaced. I think I'll be feeling his thick fingers on the back of my head for another week, said Finn. He's a good man, something of a legend in his own right. Did you see that plaque in his room? That's the honorary sub-knight of the Hidden Realm, the highest honour a civilian can be given by the Council of 12. He didn't get it for a lifelong dedication to fixing Legend Hunter's toasters. He earned it just like he earned that scar. They pulled onto their street, and his father continued. When you need something, he always has it or knows how to get it. And you always need something, Finn. Remember that. The car approached their house, and as they got closer, they both saw some writing at the same time. There had been visitors while we were out, and they'd delivered a message. Finn's dad slowed the car, slid down its window so they could examine it. On the wall, directly across the road from their front door, under the orange illuminations of the streetlight, was a line of 2-metre-high graffiti. It was fresh enough that the letters were still dripping with paint down the concrete. It read, "Stop the monsters." They got out of the car and stood in front of the house, hands on hips. Finn saw his father's gaze wasn't on the graffiti, but somewhere above the wall and beyond. Finn, do you ever get that feeling? He didn't finish the sentence. Instead, he took the desiccator canister and his newly acquired spare parts into the house, then returned with a tin of white paint and 2 brushes. Handing Finn one, they got to work covering up the graffiti. Oh look, we got another page of the book Finn's supposed to be reading. From a Concise Guide to Legend Hunters, World Volume 3, Blighted Villages, Know the Unknown. 16th edition. Shall we see what it says? Okay. There are many theories as to why the gateways between the infested side and this world have become so rare. Some believe that the legends grew weary of failed attempts at invasions and withdrew into their own world to contemplate the error of their ways and acknowledge the clear superiority of humans, such as the Legend Hunter clan of Cemiteiro, Brazil. This theory is somewhat undermined by being solely the work of the Legend Hunter clan of Cemiteiro, Brazil. Another idea is that the atmosphere between the worlds has thickened to such an extent that it is no longer being able to be penetrated. Suggested reasons for this include industrial pollution, global warming, the proliferation of mobile phone radiation, volcanic eruptions in Iceland, and methane released by the, as it were, emissions of cows' bottoms. Evidence gleaned through interrogation of the decreasing number of invaders informs us that the legend's ability to break through the wall between our worlds has diminished. For reasons even they do not fully understand. It should be noted, however, that there is some doubt about the veracity of such revelations. As transcripts show, there is to be punctuated by such sentiments as, "Please do not stab me again. Don't use the stabbing device," said the legends. Interesting. Well, that's the end of chapter 17. Right. Night night, my lovely boys. That Mummy should put you to bed and not let you have another chapter. Okay, love you both very much. See you later, alligators.